I was gonna say.
I do. It's gonna be so good. Things are gonna be great.
Yeah, start standing there, take a
All right.
big lunge step
So
forward. Remember what
we
Chris?
are, I should probably talk this way a little bit. We are gonna take a look at separation assessments quick, which are already the TPI assessments that you're familiar with. And then we'll start to look at like how might
you
you
feel that stretch?
start to progress.
Long
things
torso.
from there. So today is really TPI. We're
Good.
gonna
Now
go
we're
from just
rotate
purely
over your
assessment
forward leg,
to
turning your
taking the
chest.
first steps into some
Good
corrective
ceiling.
action. I'm gonna progress it
Good.
pretty
So
high up
that-
the chain
Now we're
ultimately.
down to the outside.
And
Okay, now shift on to your
well,
front
yeah, let's
heel.
just kind of get
Hip
started.
width
if that's okay.
backing
So
up.
the
Yeah,
first
so be it. Good job.
four assessments are a lot of golf posture. We're gonna skip the first one, which is just looking at their posture when
We're
they're
gonna do
in
one
golf.
side and then
So
we're
we're
gonna
gonna
go
go
right
down
into side plank.
Let's start off with the pelvic tilt. So that's the anterior posterior pelvic tilt. So if you're cool, Skylar, why don't you go first and we'll just kind of watch and we'll talk about it. And then golf posture and face in that way so the camera can really see what's going on. So like towards Evan, yeah. So Evan, once you get on the side of it, that'll probably be your best vantage point. So should we get it in golf posture first, then to make sure we're on the same page, we go anterior tilt first, so tailbone up, and then posterior tilt second.
You know about, so
And
feet.
then get tall for a second. I always encourage people to go all the way back to their golf posture again after they're tall and then again. So I'm gonna give you 3 cracks at that. Go ahead.
Yeah, we got a couple more coming too. Just started working with a diver
Okay, one more time.
who just missed going to Paris by a few points. And she's going 2028
And
is the.
fail. All right, so Evan,
So
what did you
side
say?
plank, top leg in the air, hold for 5 deep breaths and then deep breaths.
Absolutely. So I think you're pretty neutral in your setup. Maybe you're a little extra anterior, but nothing crazy. A good amount of anterior movement.
And she,
Maybe a little limited in pushing edges up your posterior, but definitely a shake and bake. So I might say a little limited posterior. Not like a big thing, but the bigger thing was that shape that you had and that posture. All right, so let's go through next.
Yeah, we noticed, we saw that.
What's that?
We noticed that when we did the test.
Okay.
Originally.
hold that top leg in the air there, so.
All right, so golf posture first. First, give us that anterior tilt and then posterior. All right, so let's get tall again for a second. Reorganize. I think you might have got posterior first, so reset. As the first one is give me anterior first, yeah. So tailbone way back up in the air. All right, and now take it on in here. Can you get there? All right, let's reset it one more time. How about one more crack at that thing, okay? And fail. All right, so Skylar, what do you think there?
I think he looks limited in both, but more so anterior.
I agree. And then you say shake and bake too?
Yeah.
Now we're gonna
So I would say,
go-
you know, limited in both, I would say more so in posterior, but either way, we can agree. There's
First side,
some limitation,
slowly.
anterior, posterior, and we got shake and bake. You got it all, man. Okay, cool. All right. So do you know the significance to going into posterior
Keep
tilt?
those hips high,
and golf.
tapping that heel back down, repeating
Why is it
5 more
back?
times.
Or does it matter?
Nope, keep them all on one side, push hard to that opposite
Yes,
leg.
totally on the list.
I was gonna say like, we had a bunch of different things you could have sways, different. That was all in floor control.
Okay. So there though is a specific swing fault that you see a lot of times when someone has a hard time doing this in their swing as a result. So
Over stop.
specifically, no, but you're not way off there. It's early
Feel some love
extension.
there, so?
So early extension is when someone's in their golf posture, they get to the top of the backswing, and then they start to drive those hips forward
Yeah.
as they come down. The reason they're doing that, and you kind of like started to do it in one rep, then you clean it up a little bit. Someone who just can't get into a posterior pelvic tilt, like, what's the only way to get your hips forward? If you can't do this, the only way to get there is doing this by driving your hips forward towards the ball. So what's supposed to happen naturally in that downswing is we're in our anterior pelvic tilt. As we come down and we get to the point of
Then we're gonna go
contact,
bottom up squats.
I
for
just
5.
did a posterior tilt. So that's why that matters, and that's specifically what will happen in your balance. So, how would we start to address this? Ideas?
Kayla, is she a junior, right?
Really frankly, so many times it's just core control. It's just understanding.
Oh, official.
I would say, yeah, just doing the movement. So the easiest way to start this out for me would be someone laying on the back. You
Oh,
go,
no.
okay, I'm gonna be like,
She's taking it at the DM.
Okay.
That was her first thing. I don't know why, and I told. Mr. So
That hook is not gonna last much longer at all.
I'm just gonna do it.
Hook is on.
all right. So I don't know if it's clean or not clean. I just grabbed them off the wall. You wanna clean them or are we okay?
I'll take it.
Okay, all right. So once you both go head this way, feet this way, and lay on your backs. All right, so if we have more contact with the ground, would that mean we have more stability or less stability?
More stability.
More stability. So that's how we start off. So let's go knees bent, feet down. All right, so basically, we're just gonna have someone just try to do a pelvic tilt from this position first. So if things are really bad, this is where I start, okay? I'm not saying that they're really bad for either of you, but this is just the bottom of the progression. So we have right now probably a little bit of a natural anterior tilt if you have the curvature in your lumbar spine between that progression. There's like a gap there. So usually what I'll encourage people to do is just let's increase the gap. So that's your anterior tilt. So can you increase the space between your lumbar spine and the ground without the butt coming up off the ground? Now, the posterior tilt's the opposite. It'll eliminate the space. That's it. Now you want to do stuff with your hips and your glutes, obviously. Let's just go through for like 3 or 4 reps if that's
Am I
okay.
not supposed to?
So really like the butt's on the ground and really all that's happening is this, but the butt doesn't come up. If that makes
Okay.
sense.
So I was
So let's see a
cheating.
few more if you don't mind. So anterior, that was a great anterior that time and now close the gap. There it is. Yep. So again, just give me, let's say 2 extra officially. So again, you're gonna give me anterior
The what?
and posterior. All right, now, if we wanna do all the things that we always do with people in terms of like, this should be on, here's your breath. I'd argue that we're gonna go inhale on the anterior pelvic tilt and create more space. Exhale when you close the gap. So let's start to do that. So go neutral. Okay, anterior and inhale,
That worked out well.
Yeah. And.
Bang.
and then exhale and
Taps
posterior.
and then lateral walk.
You got it. And just do like 3 or 4 more now that we've got blended in the breath. You got it. And then there's one more cue I typically will give. It's a cue you hear me give a lot of like, we don't want spread open ribs, especially when we're going interior. So think about like closing the ribs down a little bit. So you put your hands on your ribs if you need. So you think about kind of closing the like the space in the rib cage a little bit. And now it's the same stuff. Inhale anterior.
Oh, doing that. one.
Yeah,
The rib
trying to
together.
maintain the closed ribs. So inhale anterior, exhale posterior.
I feel more limited when I do.
Been on California for a little over a week, but I hear you're gonna.
Particularly on the anterior, just we don't want this going on.
Yeah.
Just want control. All right, so a little funky, but you know, if someone's like been training with you a little bit and you just suddenly realize, oh, this is a problem, and they already get breathing, they already get core bracing, you can put it all in one thing. But sometimes it's just good to kind of layer something like that. All right, so we gave you the most stability possible. So we eventually though are gonna have to lose this, right? So we have a couple options. One good one is a full kneeling position. Why don't we try that next if that's okay? So full knee,
Okay.
both knees are down.
I like it.
And it's gonna be the same thing. So I would still encourage you to get like a little bit of a forward lean like you would in your golf posture. So there's a little bit of like flexion or a hinge is really what I ought to say. And then it's the same drill. So you can cross your hands over your chest if you want.
Positive.
You're gonna go ahead, go inhale as you go anterior pelvic tilt.
Yeah.
And then exhale posterior. I think you're backwards right now, Evan. So inhale when the tailbone goes up.
While in golf posture.
Yep. And then exhale as you go into posterior. So Skylar, this is working pretty well for you. Let's see a few more, Evan. And what you'll find is like you go to a certain point in the progression, and it just doesn't work for the person anymore. This might be where you, this might be it for you. But let's see one more if you don't mind. Give it one more try. And Evan, I'm sorry, Skylar, you can watch too. So Evan, reset for a sec. Just like ready, just find again kneeling golf posture, which I know is a silly
You
concept.
want the torso like.
Yeah, got a little bit of a hinge.
Okay.
All right, let's see it, man.
Kind of like little ladies in there.
Okay.
Well, guess what one of my favorite quotes is?
That actually was better than the last 2 were. So
look, there's a chance this is it. We can see. Now, there's one other thing we can do. So Evan, giving you the ground made it really easy, right? Here's like a little challenging, but not bad. So there's a tweener we can do. So Skylar, can he steal your mat for a sec? Evan, can you slide this mat in front of the pillar? Kneel facing the wall, but hold the pillar. So we're just giving you like a little extra stability in this case.
Same thing, but just.
Same exact thing, but now you get to like, you can push into the wall just a little bit. And that should really be a game changer with stability, but it's not as much help as a grounded per se.
Am
So,
I still trying to keep like?
yup, little hinge. All right, so again, give this anterior tilt first with an inhale. And now give us posterior.
Yeah.
That might have helped a little bit. How about just one more? Yup. Yes. And then posterior, sir. And relax. Okay, cool. So look, from a progression perspective, like what we just did there was like we had one on the ground, right? And then we kind of go in like 2A, 2B. 2A being just regular full kneel, like nothing real fancy about it. But for Evan, it wasn't really the best thing. 2B worked out a little bit better. So when he gave you the stability against the wall. Logical so far? All right. So this is not going to be your friend probably, but this might work for you now. So why don't we say that now we're like, all right, we want to get the person standing, but why don't we give you the pillar on this one? So why don't you try standing, golf posture, and have just a little bit of assistance from the pillar. So Matt, no Matt, whatever you want. So we just have to think back to what you look like when you did the original eval.
Is it?
So Evan, I have a mental snapshot of that. Do you have a little bit of an idea there? All right, so like soft knees, a little bit of a forward hinge, and again, you can push into that wall some. All right, now, when you're good, same exact stuff. Let's see it, anterior first. Yup, definitely an improvement. What do you think, Evan? How about one more shot?
Good, then step across into your curve. I'm done.
And relax. All right, let's just see. So maybe this was just purely a motor learning thing for you. Give it a shot. Let's see. No help now.
It feels like there's less shape.
For sure, for sure. But again, you had the stability from the wall, but did it transfer? Maybe it transferred that quickly. Let's see. Yup. It's definitely better. So I'd argue for a little while for you, Skylar, I probably would do a mix of pillar but standing. Maybe I give you 3, 4, 5, 6 reps like that, and then have you come out and just do it like the traditional way. I don't think you need 1, 2A or a 2B. I think we're going right to 3, and then technically 4 when there's no pillar. Evan, for you, I think you're 2B right now. All right, and this is an informal way of like layering the progression with it. All right. So that's where I'd go for anterior, posterior pelvic tilt issues, shake and bake, whatever you want to call it. Again, a lot of times it's as simple as what your issue was there. I'm not sure if it seemed important to you. You just needed to understand what you needed to do. I feel like, and like when you put that together, just through reps, it got like that. And that's all it really is. If there's like some wild history of back stuff, it could be a different thing. All right, so next. Do we want to look at rotating the pelvis without the hips or the hips without, I'm sorry, rotate the hips without the torso or the torso without the hips?
Torso and then.
Yes.
Okay, cool with that. All right, so let's assess it again first. Now, when you assess this one, my recommendation is you look at the person from behind. Scott, would you mind facing the Align logo? Evan, why don't you come around so you can get the posterior view? All right, so when we do this one, we know that we want this down to be a statue. And we want you to have a really good shoulder turn with this rotation from like the middle part of your back. So let's see what you look like. We're looking at how far she turns, but we're also looking at how well does she separate its both. Go for it.
See them?
All right.
Okay, and how about the other way?
Okay.
Give me one more each way.
9, all right, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
And bail. So Evan, what do you think?
1. Good. We're gonna face me, so we're gonna have one foot
Left side looked a little.
touching the line there.
Okay.
Your inside.
I'd say like,
It was pretty good.
Not bad,
Not
not
bad. I mean,
bad.
there was definitely little like resistance to shake, but.
there was, and there was a little follow overhead, so it wasn't tremendous, but there was some. All right, so now Evan, if you're doing this assessment and you saw that, what do you do next?
Stabilize at that.
Give her stability. You okay if we do that? All right, so the only way that the camera can kind of see this, I guess, would be you facing that way. And then Evan, you okay to give her stability?
Other way.
All right, and then I'll kind of give like this view. All right, so now let's see. And again, you get like, Scott, you okay if he gives you a little more stability than that?
Yeah.
Okay, like give her some help so her hips can't go anywhere. Now let's go ahead and say, I'd say that's a bigger turn left and a bigger turn right. Relax. All right, so now what did that just tell us?
Stability.
Stability, right? Because one, we saw your hips following you a little bit in the first place, but two, a bigger turn when we stabilize your hips. So we have a stability issue in both directions. This is what we know now about. All right, do you mind? All right, moment of truth. Watch your face towards the logo. And you're doing the same thing. So again, we're in golf posture,
You got it.
torso only, no hips out.
Yeah, so actually, it's gonna go from your takeoff hip to your landing. Okay, so it's gonna transition with you as you move.
Yeah.
Yep,
All right, how about one more?
good. Good, higher, so push. There you go.
And back.
And back, yes, ma'am.
All right, Scott, your thoughts?
I think he's good at separating the
I think so
two,
too, yeah.
but I think it's a little limited on this side.
Yeah.
I agree. So I would honestly say like maybe a more limited that way,
That's
but
where
kind of limited both.
Yeah.
So,
And yeah, I'm kind of looking for like, you're around a 45-degree plus turn. So really more than that, frankly, and I don't think you got there. yet. All right, so now let's do what we just happened a second ago. Let's still provide stability.
Good.
And then what we'll know is if he has a bigger turn is,
He needs stability.
you got it. All right, let's see it. And if there's no change, Skylar, it would mean it is purely.
Mobility.
Yep. All right, let's see it, man. So watch your face towards that mirror. Yep. So Skylar's gonna give stability. Let's see if the amount of turn improves.
Rita says, fly, Sophia, fly.
Yep. And how about the other way? Yep. Skylar, your thoughts?
They got more.
Definitely.
turns.
Definitely more, for sure. Now, look, we can also like maybe later on decide that he does need more thoracic rotation too. So there's a chance of that.
Okay.
But what we do know right now for sure is you gain mobility, not really. You turn further when your stability, when you're
You're
running
gonna go
stability.
all six
Okay,
to the right and all
now,
six to the
Same
left.
thing, like how are we gonna
Put a hole in
do
the floor where one of the.
So,
Sophia's departs and
Have
special-
either of you addressed this with the client yet? No, okay. So there's a lot of different options. Let's start off with just like the most fundamental one. And it might work for Evan, it might not work for Evan. Let's find out. Actually, it might work for both of you. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna force some stability into the system. All right, nothing really fancy or shocking. I put an ankle band above the knees, make the person drive their knees out and also turn their feet out a little bit to create stability, and then we work the turn. Let's see if that does anything for you too.
Thank you.
And a lot of people like a good moderate level tension band, so like, I don't know that like YouTube green would be enough, but I'd say blue probably would do it. All right, so go above the knees if you don't mind, and then give me some golf posture. Please. Yeah, please. All right, Evan, can you take us 2 steps forward? Yup, all right. And you guys go right ahead. So again, we're doing 2 things now, right? We're driving the knees out a little bit, but also think about rotating your feet out. So really it's external hip rotation. All right, now crisscross the arms over the chest. Try to maintain the lower body as it is. Let's see what we got going on here. Pretty good turn there, Scott. You already had a good turn. But now your lower body, it's not that it's not moving at all, but there's definitely less movement. Actually, the left was perfect on that rep. How about the right? That looks really good, Scott. All right, so that worked well for you. Evan, I'm coming around. Let's see about you. Yeah, pretty big turn. A little bit of hip follow, but not much. And right was really good. Relax. So this might be a good starter drill for both of you. So again, like what did we do? Like nothing real fancy. We created a little stability in the system, right? How do we do that? We did it with RNT. That's all it was. And then we did the torso turn. So that is a good option for you too. All right, ditch the bands. And then here's a million other ways of doing this. Skylar, just watch your head. Sorry, I feel the need to always say that.
I've hit it there multiple times.
All right, so that could be a good starting point, but then it's like, all right, well, what do we go from there? Because that's not gonna be a fun, exciting exercise forever. That's very, very obvious. Well, there's a million ways of doing this. So one option would be we put a foot up on something. and we just do it from more of like a body weight perspective. We're just turning over the knee. So how about we start off with Evan? Evan, can you put your right foot right here? Just make sure the bench isn't gonna go flying on you. We know this is not the most stable bench ever. Get tall. Cross your arms over your chest. Now, don't go crazy with this, but apply a little bit of force down with the right foot to create a little stability. It's like your right glutes on. Okay, slow control, just turn right. You got it, and then come right back. And you did a good job of not letting that right knee follow you. That's a key of like, it's a key indicator as to whether or not you're stable down low. Let's just see one more. Cool. So this might be another good option. All right, Skylar, why don't you get up there? Let's just do the other side. So go left, just not that it's evening either of you out, but you know. All right, so again, a little bit of a drive down of that left foot, left heel specifically. All right, and let's see, turning over the knee only. You know, in this one, Skylar, you can actually just get more upright.
One last one.
So we're not doing it at a golf posture. I recognize that, but I'm sorry, I should have cued you. Just tall on this one.
Okay.
So again, a little bit of drive down there at the left.
So.
Okay.
Again, big keys is the knee stay or follow. I say that knee staying. Come on back to neutral. I see one more. And yeah, so I mean, again, this is qualitative. Joe Chaikin's visually like evaluating this. I think the other drill was better for you, but that might also be something that works.
You're gonna be fine.
Okay. So now, key question on that. When we want to rotate from the middle spine and not the lumbar spine, where does the knee need to be relative to the hip?
Oh, I forgot about it.
So let's say you're doing open book, right? Sideline, you haven't rotated over, right? And we're gonna, usually we put the top leg in front, right?
Yeah.
How high does the knee have to be?
90 degrees.
90 degrees in line with the
Got like a good inhale.
Okay.
hip.
And
So, yeah, the only reason I didn't just say yes straight up is that you mean 90 at the knee or 90 at the hip? Well, really, we want 90 at both, or we want a little bit more than 90 of hip flexion.
Okay.
So why did I ask you that question? Well, the same thing applies to the exercise you just did. If that knee isn't at 90 and the hip isn't at least 90 and you're rotating, you're gonna be rotating from your lumbar spine and your thoracic spine. So great drill, but if the bench is too low, it's a horrible drill. Because you're encouraging a lumbar rotation, not necessarily thoracic. Okay, so two really easy guys, but then obviously we can start to like put the body under load in different ways here too. So how about we just do some half kneeling rotation, right? Where the torso's gonna turn and the hips won't, nothing crazy. So, and why don't you grab like a maroon band if that's what you
Notice your own one.
Scott, are you okay if you do the rotation?
I was gonna say.
Alright, so can you go right knee down, left foot out in front of you and face that mirror?
Do you remember when I had my second Caesar?
Alright, and for the record, there's no reason that half kneeling turn that we just, it can't be done from here. It could also be done from here, because then she's automatically at 99, she has no choice. Alright, now, one thing we want to be considerate of, and I can see it happening right now, is width.
I'm going to play.
So I don't want you so narrow right away that you feel wobbly, so figure out what width between the right knee and the left foot laterally feels right. Is that good? Alright, better at least? Alright, so Evan, once you get her
That's
at the handle,
gangster, you're nuts.
so you're gonna primarily hold with the right, overlap with the left. Now, I'm gonna give you the same cue I gave you earlier. I want you thinking about driving the left heel down into the ground to create stability here. And once again, if this knee follows you, you're not doing a good job of stabilizing your lower half. Alright, so don't give her a lot of tension because it is kind of a heavy band. Slow control, Scholar. Can you give us a nice torso turn left over that knee? You can now, just don't let your core just shut off as you return. That's it. How about one more? You go with that? And bail. All right, so a quick note on both this, and you can relax for a sec, but stay in that area if you like. So both this and the last exercise, we only are rotating on the closed side over that forward knee or up knee. Going the other way, you're not gonna have the stability to do a good job. All right, now let's say we like the exercise, but Skylar was having a hard time with the knee. It's a little hard to do as one person, but there's two of us. So we can make this really easy. What can we do?
And she called and was like, I've met.
Got any ideas to create extra stability so that knee stays in place?
And she's like, I guess we bumped the third out.
What you got?
And then she never,
Putting a band.
she went there like, to show her friend.
Yes, although I'm gonna pull you to go.
Okay.
Alright, so look,
And
I
she was
do
like,
this sometimes, but it's a pain in the ass. The way I set this up
It's a triple.
if I'm by myself,
Too.
is I'll put this around my leg,
The wind.
and then I'll hold the other band with my hand. Look, there's two of us, so let's just use both of our arms and legs and such. Alright, so I don't wanna make this crazy, Scholar. I just wanna make this like just a little bit of work to stay put, to talk to me about that. Is that all right? Alright, Evan, give it bands. Let's just do 3 reps. So that glute, if this is correct, it should kind of sort of be like a 5.
Dumbbell there, we're gonna do some golf as well.
Yup.
Left one.
So we're now, again, we're using RNT just like we did for the first corrective, whatever your good Sky. Never called you Sky before, I'm not sure why I did now, but hey, here we are.
That's usually my nickname.
Good. You okay for 3?
Yeah. That was already recorded.
Oh, totally. Yeah, so like, you know, you can make the argument that this both makes the exercises a little harder from a physical work perspective, but it also makes the exercise easier because we're introducing stability into the system. So that's like the interesting thing to me, at least, and you can totally relax. That's the interesting thing to me about all this kind of stuff. It's like, a lot of times when you make the exercise physically harder through RNT, it's an assist to improve the movement quality. And when that's not there, it's harder to have good movement quality, but it's less physically taxing. So in the beginning, it's kind of harder work because the RNT is involved a lot of times. And then eventually we get rid of it. And it doesn't seem like, because that's counterintuitive because they're not working as hard anymore, but that's the progression. You have less and less and less stability, so it's more and more like golf, because when they're out there, they've got nothing supporting them. It's just them and a club, and you know, you just gotta figure it out. So, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Again, counterintuitive though, because most things, when we introduce more load, that gets harder, that's the progression. When we're trying to create better separation, we're having more load, but really RNT stability, and we're slowly taking it away over time. And it's completely on you to decide, when do I take it away? How much of it do I take away based on the quality of their separation? So it's like totally qualitative in the moment. There's even good days and bad days. Like, I'm gonna throw that blue band back on again for this drill, even though last time they looked good. Something's not right.
Grab one into that.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
So it's always like, you know, you can't just count reps on this. Honestly, almost in some ways, like, forget about the reps on this. This is all about movement quality to elicit the effect we want. And why would we even want better separation for golf anyway? What's like the thing that everybody wants to do in golf?
The ball farther.
That's it. So this really like, this is kind of the sexy, like the thing that people want. Like everyone wants a longer drive.
Yeah.
Everyone and their mother wants that. So this stuff doesn't even feel hard a lot of times. You've got to explain to the person, you've got to make this make sense. Like, listen, I use the same analogy all the time, and it's a bad one. You've never been hit in the locker room with a towel, but many people have. It's 2 people. They roll up that towel, right? I could never do this. So there's Joe Chapin. I go to, that would be weird. I go to hit, right? And it just kind of flops. There's no force behind it. I suck. This is a weird scenario, but you're in that same locker room with Evan. I don't know why you're there, but you're there, right? You roll it up and you crack Evan and Evan cries. What's the difference? Like, why did mine not do anything and why did yours make him cry? What do you think?
This guy was stronger.
Yeah, they're stronger, sure. But let's pretend like it's really me and really her. You all know.
Somebody phone.
So I might be a little stronger. So why?
Separation of.
Yeah, we can call it separation, but in that, we can almost call it like timing.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, you knew when to initiate that movement forward, and at the same time, you knew just the right time to pull back on it, to create the
How
whip.
does that feel? So
I didn't understand how to do that. So that's what we're really trying to help people with, the whip. So you don't get them stronger, you don't get them more powerful, but they have better separation. They have more.
That's the awesome part about this. So we're gonna make them strength train anyway, but even without the strength training, they can hit the ball further by just really doing the input. Cool. All right, so to make sure we're on the same page, even these exercises are not forever exercises. Eventually, we got them throwing med balls and using the flywheel and doing like rotational punches with bands, cable pumps. That's where we want to get all this, but kind of have to have this at least decent before those kind of power exercises make you like projects.
So
Cool. Questions so far at all?
I know you're gonna miss the banana bag the most. So.
Nothing.
No, but I can think about it.
Okay. That's all good. All right, so let's talk about where we started and where we are now. We started in golf posture. We gave a little bit of RNT. It was helpful for both of you. That was good. We put a knee up and we just turned the torso over the knee and you drove the knee down, the foot down for stability, right? We talked about how we can do that in a half kneeling scenario. I need to do it standing. Then we talked about loaded
See that?
rotation over
That
that
was
knee,
good.
and then we introduced RNT
Yeah, it was.
It's like you've
as
done
like
it
a
first.
plan B for that.
That was good.
Those are all the places we've hit. Okay, anything about all that? You sure? No? Okay, cool. All right, so look, this is another joke. This is honestly a joke shaken.
Give yourself a hug.
I don't even know the name of the exercise, and it originally, allegedly, was some super old school exercise
Down, right?
done by people like thousands of years ago.
Chest.
At least that's what the mace people
The
will have
leg
you
is not
do.
pushing.
So it's really a mace exercise that I've changed into a golf exercise. So we need
Good, so.
either
yeah.
5 or 10 pound weight
Push
plates.
and squeeze. That's
I'll let you
good.
pick, whatever you want to grab.
Good.
How many?
I was gonna say 8, but Evan said 10, so I gotta.
And grab 2 if you don't mind. What do you want? Actually, yeah,
Oh, I'll do a 5.
but grab me another one if you don't mind though. All right. So in some ways, this is closer to the turn someone actually does in a golf swing, because we're now finally, like we did the last 2 drills fully upright with our posture. Nothing wrong with
That's
guys.
the one where you rotate.
How'd that feel?
it,
It's
right?
sluts?
Oh, yeah, it's
Feels
horrible.
Yeah.
So
A quick visual for the 2 of you and for the camera. We're gonna get into a staggered stance foot position. We're loading
Yeah.
into our front leg,
Love with
and the whole way we're in this like little hinge, right? So like this is golf posture, except I'm in a
All right,
staggered
no, you can
stance.
do, keep it where it is
Same
for that
rule
leg, but
applies.
when we go
We're
back
only
around.
gonna
back,
go
you're
over the
put it on
stable
chest.
side, which is the forward leg in this case. So
So
what
just-
I really like
keep,
about this is the turn
Because you have your
looks
other leg.
way
right?
more
You
like a
just did
golf
one leg,
swing.
now you got your other leg.
The
Yeah.
goal on this
You
is
can
the
round your
lower
neck
body's
for
a
this leg,
statue.
and then for round
When I
2, put it
turn,
on.
I'm watching myself on purpose. I'm trying to take my shoulder under my chin. So I'd say right about there, I'm good. My pelvis did not slide. I pushed the weight off. You could be real mean and pause. We return and we return. So it's almost like a 4-step process. So our first move is the rotation of the torso towards that front knee, trying to get my shoulder under my chin. I press, there's step 2,
Ooh, this is gonna be. hard.
return 3,
Side.
return
If
4.
you need to,
Would be on the
bring it a
idea.
little closer to your hip.
It's kind of horrible and your front hip will be on fire pretty much the whole way. So why don't we stagger? Skylar right here, Evan back there.
So you're
Why don't
always
we-
rotating over the.
Why don't we
front
go, yeah, only the front, like, why don't you both go with right leg
Good,
forward?
so
if that's
yeah,
okay.
we don't figure it out. Take neck one before you go.
And actually, would you two mind facing the camera just for the sake of like the future people watching this, whoever they may be? All right, so weight to chest, give me your golf posture. All right, so let's let's not press out right away. And if you need a wider stance, Scott, left or right, go for it. Yep, open the base. All right, so how about just the turn first? Don't press it off yet. Turn. No one sway. Beautiful. Come on back to start for a
Actually,
sec.
no, we're gonna go.
Cool.
we're gonna
All right,
go
let's do
table
it again.
shots,
I
and
think
then
you're ready.
go back
You're
to
gonna
your
push off that
squat.
chest next. So turn, max it
Trying
out.
to get you
Push it
big
away.
bang for your-
This is where the right hip is on fire. Return it and return the torso. Let's just do 3, please.
Okay, what are we doing?
Coming over to the cable, you're gonna do cable shots in a sprinter position, okay?
Evan, there's something going on with the quality of your turn. I'm not sure what it is yet. Scott, yours was really good.
This- yeah.
Let me just see. Go ahead again.
It's something with
Go
like
to
the
20,
distance
10 on each
between
side, okay?
or something.
Good. Walk your legs.
Maybe I think I might have been 2 inches over.
Put that up a little higher there, so maybe up to the top foot.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, did I take some of that off?
Yeah, you just need a ten on
Did
each
on the
side.
previous two
Where's
reps,
the
so
10?
from this angle, I'm gonna go this way.
There's a ten on
think
one
you were
side,
going
what's on the
into
other side,
A lot of extension.
both 10s?
On those first two, I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
okay.
Alright, so what are we looking
Alright,
for on
go for
that?
it.
So we need separation. We're only gonna turn over that forward knee side. We
Okay.
wanna make sure the shoulder
let's
turn looks
picture
like a
position,
high
so we're
quality
gonna put your
shoulder turn.
inside
So
leg
what that
back.
would mean is.
Oh, no,
you
sorry,
don't wanna end
you're
up
right,
here, and which I see a lot. I never really
Hold
see
the center of your
someone
chest,
go
then punch.
into flexion like this, but it's really a possibility.
A little more.
The other thing that'll
Yeah.
happen is as you get deeper in the set, people will either get lower.
Put the five
or they'll
on,
get
maybe a
taller.
2.5.
So that's just something to like look at as you're going. 5 pounds, 10 pounds, there's not really a formal name for this. We can call this the shake and turn press or whatever it is. All right, moving on.
Yeah, that'll.
All right, so we only have 15 minutes left right now. Should we transition to rotating our pelvis without our torso?
Yeah.
All right, let's go there next. All right, so ditch the weight plates if you don't mind.
Good.
All right, let's sort of evaluation like we've been doing for everything so
Felt
far.
that
So
hamstring?
Evan, you're up
Squeeze
first,
that
sir.
back
Can
glute.
you face this way? Can we
Okay.
get you right here? We want a pelvic or hip turn or pelvic rotation without anything happening up top. So Skylar, let's watch them together. Never good when you just start to laugh in the middle of going in.
I don't know, I could turn.
Feel that core working there, so?
Yeah.
Pretty big time, right?
How about one more try?
All right.
Am I supposed to be rotating at like the,
I'm just letting you figure it out, man. No help. All right, relax.
oh wait, I was rotating the upper body the whole time.
There was a lot of different stuff going on. All right, Skylar, what did you see?
He's not rotating his hips, he's.
Sliding and
Sliding.
swaying.
Good eyes.
Absolutely.
Good
Phenomenal.
eyes, Skylar.
So there's that, and then you already ratted yourself out about the torso, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we know right now is the
Just
quality of the
turn
turn
your
right
back
there
heel
was
towards
not
the
great.
landmine a little
What are we
bit.
doing?
Give him stability on the
You got it.
shoulders.
Let's do it, Skylar, you mind?
Oh, are we facing this way or?
Whatever, doesn't matter. I'll move the camera accordingly. I'm a skilled camera. All right, so now we are stabilizing. Yup, you got it up there. All right, Evan, let's see, man. Okay. Definitely improved.
With a whole motor control.
And relax. Okay, so Skylar, you couldn't see, that's why I jumped in there. It definitely got significantly better. I'm not gonna say it was perfect. I also didn't have the best vantage point, but it definitely was way more rotary and way less sliding and swaying was the bottom. All right, should we flip?
Yeah.
Skylar, do you mind? All right, so Evan, you need to be back here again to be able to see what's going on. All right, let's see it, girl. No torso. Yup. Ooh, all right, so going, let's see. All right, reorganize, because your first turn to the left was awesome, and you kind of lost it a little bit. I'm saying more info than I would in a real evaluation for the record.
You wanna add the wolf wedge this time?
Fail.
It's over by the.
So I'd say rotary, what do you think?
I was gonna say rotary too. That's-
Okay, cool.
I saw it the first one. It's a
Yeah.
little,
But what would you say you didn't love? Or is there nothing, did you love it all? It was teamwork.
Thank you, it's like.
There
There you go, so.
So is there anything you didn't like?
the lag, I would say. In it.
I'm being a little nitpicky, but we might as well be nitpicky. So first off, you're way better at this than the other way around. You're good at this.
Oh, okay.
But there's still a little bit of a stability issue,
Yeah.
I think, because I saw a little bit of torso
I
follow.
felt it.
Yeah.
It wasn't a ton for the record, but there was something. So if you don't mind, can we provide her stability?
Good, you turn your thigh bones out as you sit. That's the bend. There you go.
All right, that's it.
Good, so be it. So what y'all
I'd say that
think-
looks really good now,
Yeah, it
right?
looks a lot
Okay,
better.
relax.
Okay.
All right, so really quick, I just realizing something, I should like take a step back for a sec. So when we talked about anterior, posterior tilt, then we talked about like, what's the significance of the swing? And I gave you a very specific swing fault, okay? So I didn't do that when we talked about either of these yet, so we should probably do that. So let's forget about a swing fault for a second. The bigger question is there a moment in time in the golf swing where the torso is rotating and the pelvis is always as they're supposed to be? Yeah, in the backswing, absolutely. So again, if we don't even like worry about swing faults, we just know this is a thing that the person's supposed to be able to do, right? At the initiation of their backswing. All right, now, how about the last one where the pelvis turns and the torso doesn't? Does that happen ever in the swing or is it supposed
Where
to?
the pelvis turns.
That's torso, yeah.
Like downswing. Yes, because you're
So,
right here.
yep, so how are we supposed to be initiating that downswing? So let's get to the top of your backswing. You're allegedly a golfer, right?
Yeah.
All right, so what happens from here? What's supposed to happen?
The hips are firing here and the hands
Yup,
are coming
you got
through.
it. We want whack,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So when someone can't do this very well, right, let's actually throw a swing fault out there. So if they have a hard time doing that, like that load into the lead, like the weight shift and the pelvic rotation without the torso first, so that's not on the table for them, they can't do that. Is there gonna be a lag between the arms here? You lose that ability, right? So now what does that mean? Well, the person's gonna, instead of looking like this, right? That's the whole whip thing you talked about, right? That tiny sequence. Now you're more likely to do it all in one motion. So you're losing power, but also there's gonna be negative repercussions on the quality of your downswing too. So I have to read more up to remember what all the details of that are, but this is not a good situation if that's the case. All right, so we don't have a lot of time left, we've got like 10 minutes. So we're just gonna do the fundamental version of this, but I'll be honest with you. I don't do a million specific correctives for this one. I do way more with the torso, turning against stable hips than stable hips against the torso. What I end up doing though is I work this into other exercises that are total body rotation exercises. So like in other words, like maybe sometimes I'll just start to work on something like this. So again, I'm going one step ahead right now, okay? So maybe I'm just working on them sequencing like through the swing, right? Maybe we're doing that, or maybe we're doing a band and they're out here. And even though we're not in golf posture, right? We still can have them work on
Good.
loading into the lead,
How's that feel right
rotating
here?
the pelvis, and then that torso comes to the left, right? Or we can have them do that with a punch, right? So again, they're leading, sorry, they're loading into the lead leg, they're rotating the pelvis, and they're punching, like that's the last two. So anything like that, or even a med ball throw, right, in a golf posture. I'm always looking for the same thing.
That's it.
So that's one of the ways I work on this with people, but let's say it's real bad though.
That'll help,
Where do we
okay?
start? Just the hip twister exercise. So can you both grab dowels for me? And I'm pretty sure you had Jeff doing this, right? Or Jeffrey? Okay. All right, so I guess facing me would work. Just kind of go that way a little bit, Evan. All right, so again, remember we talked about the fact that it's counterintuitive, right? With separation. The harder the work is in some ways, the more effort, the more help you get. Okay. So that applies to this. The harder you drive the stick down, the harder it feels like you're working, but the more support and stability you're giving yourself. So the harder I drive down, the easier it is for me to turn. Does that make sense? So don't go all out. Give yourself enough of a push down into the ground in golf posture so you have enough stability to be successful with this exercise. Go for it.
Yeah, there you go, get in there, bring those heels a little closer.
Okay.
There you go, now.
Evan, just slow it down a little bit, I think. Yep, Scott, it's looking pretty good now.
Lose
Yeah.
the banana.
And it's always gonna be like a couple of reps where this is like super awkward. And the golfer's like, I never do this. It's like, well, if you don't ever do this, then you actually have a problem on our hands. And then relax. All right, so then like, let's just think logically through this, right? What's the progression? How do we give less stability? You got it. Or, yes, that, throw it on the ground. So that's an option. What's in between though? Okay, yeah, I'll give you that. I was gonna go even simpler. So it still includes a dowel. Don't push down as hard.
Oh,
That's it, right? So like, maybe in the beginning, you're white knuckling this thing into the ground to create tons of stability. And then over time, the cube is simple. It's like, give yourself less help. Give yourself, or don't drive
that
down
makes
as
more
hard.
sense, because you can't turn your torso. half.
Yeah, yeah. That's okay. So, but it's not, you're not looking at that the wrong way necessarily. But we cool with that idea, that progression. All right, now look, there's no dowel. Grab a wall, who cares? So you can either hold the pillar like this, you can drive into the pillar like that. Either of those things work. Driving in like this is a little bit different because I don't really turn on that anterior chain. Driving down like this creates like kind of like it's more lat stability. You get a little bit of edge, but that push into the wall gives you even more stability here. So frankly, if someone's really having a hard time, I might have them kind of like hold the pillar, squeeze it and push it both. And that probably gives us the most support. And then eventually we do what Skylar did very emphatically and dramatically. We throw the dowel across the room and then you're just doing it.
Hey, good news.
And again, I did back, I wanted backwards to this, but then our next step is like, all right, we got that pretty good. Then we incorporate it into our standing exercises where we're rotating against the band or the flywheel or the cable, and we're loading into our lead leg. We're encouraging pelvic rotation, and the last thing that happens is that torso.
And this is the, I mean, this is the.
So those are like pretty sound ways of like methodically assessing. And then starting to correct all these things in like a progressive manner. And again, it's the same thing I said earlier. You gotta constantly watch how well are they separating, and then you make decisions on the fly. Do I progress them? Are they good where they are, or do I regress them? And like, that's a constant thing that you're gonna decide. So when I program this out, I'll write separation exercises. And then I might write like torso from hips, hips from torso. And I kind of know where they are, but like, I have in my head what all those options are, and I just go up and down for it. And then when the day comes and they need no help and they look great, I throw them away. I'm like, all right, we don't need that. Now, I'll reevaluate it every now and again. Or if someone goes in a season, you don't see them for a whole summer and they come back, I'm gonna test it again. But usually people can hold it if they're still active.
There you go, so.
All right, good starting point.
Thank you.
My pleasure.